Serious Redditors from Lebanon or Beirut, how are you after the horrific explosion in the city? Asterisk asterisk attention. Serious. Tag notice asterisk asterisk. Asterisk. Jokes, puns, and off-topic comments are not permitted. https www.reddit.com/r/askreddit/wiki_-rule_6- in asterisk any asterisk comment, parent or child, asterisk parent comments that aren't from the target group will be removed, along with their child replies. Asterisk report comments that violate these rules, posts that have few relevant answers within the first hour, and posts that are not appropriate for the serious tag will be removed. Consider doing an AMA request instead. Thanks for your cooperation and enjoy the discussion. Asterisk I am a bot, and this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of this subreddit. Messaged compose to =r/ask Reddit. If you have any questions or concerns asterisk. There is only one main road standing between my house and the port. Thankfully, I left the apartment 10 minutes before to meet a friend. Saw the fire, and thought it was something casual. Walked one street away, so one more layer of building away from the port, and sat and ordered some food outdoors. A few minutes later, we hear very loud rumbling. Stand up to see what's happening from a better angle. And boom, monsieur, the scariest moment in my life was seeing the blast come my way and not knowing what will happen next. My first impulse was to run away from buildings. My friend's impulse was to run into them to hide. So we ran in opposite directions. And then, glass and pebbles fell on me, and everything was covered in dust. I got minor wounds, and went with my friend to check on her boyfriend who lives nearby. Apartment was full of blood and we couldn't find hi monsieur. Even in those moments I looked at her and said, you just got the full Beirut experience. Quote, to which she responded, yes, I'm definitely ready to leave. She went to the nearest hospital to see if her boyfriend was there, and found out that he was transported to another hospital further from Beirut. I called my mom, and the moment she responds she is crying. She lived somewhat far but was worried about me and was glad I'm alive. I went back to check on my house, and the streets were like a war scene. People running everywhere and screaming. Blood all over the place. Rubble, and people fighting. Someone parked to get someone injured, and blocked the way on another car wanting to take someone injured to the hospital. The stairs in my building were full of bloodstains and screams. Doors on all floors are out of place. Reached the house and it has literally imploded on itself as all the windows were closed. So, the house is gone. The building next to mine had 2 floors blown away onto the street, with electricity lines on the street amid the rubble. I also lost my car in the process as rubble fell on it. As I was packing the essentials to leave my house, the neighbor above me told me a lady in the building had her neck broken and needed assistance. We call for an ambulance but no response. So we call my neighbor's son-in-law. He says he's on his way. I take my stuff and leave for my parents' house. No cars anywhere near to take me. I walk for around a mile, and as I walk I see a beggar I always used to see nearby. He asks how he can reach North Lebanon where his family is, and asks for money to go there. Tells me his brother died as rubble fell on him from the building, and cries. I pass him some money. Tell him we have all been horrified, and to take care. I find a taxi and go to my parents' house. They cry when they see me come in. I am still processing all what happened, and perhaps this is the reason I wrote this long comment. I can still feel the buzz in my ears, and watching the videos makes me shake on the inside. Lost everything, still processing, devastated. I'm thinking that life was paradise before that explosion, and trust me, life was fucking shit even before the disaster. Edit. It has been confirmed that my teacher at university lost his life in the incident. I'm Lebanese and I'm stuck abroad because of COVID. I was on the phone with my grandmother when it happened. You do not want to hear your grandmother yelling like she is about to die. Everyone I know and I spent hours making phone calls, texting people, "Are you alive?" worrying when the other person took more than a split second to answer. We had ceiling-to-floor windows in my house. They're completely destroyed. Mom had to stay home alone all night and we were worried someone would try to break in because we live on the second floor. We were also worried about the fumes. This is something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Removed. My grandmom sadly passed away while my brother came out safely with a few burns. I live just 2 miles away from where the explosion occurred. We live on the 10th floor of a high-rise building. My siblings and I were sitting on the balcony before the impact. I remember clearly feeling the earth shake and us calling out that there was an earthquake. We rushed into our living room only to hear the loudest bang I've ever experienced. My mother, who had seen the entire thing happen from the kitchen window, was hysterical. The moments after the deafening bang were followed by a gust of wind that shook all our windows, slammed all our doors, and shattered our neighboring buildings' windows. My family was freaking out and unsure of what had just happened. The idea that this was the first act of war was on everyone's minds. My younger sibling experienced a panic attack and my mother was inconsolable. I clearly remember feeling nothing. My emotions were empty, but I felt my knees shaking. I was so focused on making sure my family was okay that I didn't give myself time to process. It wasn't until after I had gone to bed till I realized how bad it was for me too. I had a nightmare about it that woke me up at 4 a.m. and any creak or thump in the night had me flinching. My family and I are physically safe, which is why we're making a trip to donate blood for those who aren't so lucky. I wanted to end with the picture I took. https://imager.com/a/lbjnj. A few minutes after and also link the Red Cross. http www.redcross.org.lb/ for anyone able to donate. My brother felt the shockwave 12 to 14 miles east a lot later than I did. I was about 2 miles south, but I managed to reach home without major injuries. I wasn't scared from a trembling building and shattered windows, not cause I am so great, but I didn't process what happened, saw the mushroom cloud and genuinely thought we got nuked. I didn't understand the blast and what I went through before I saw all the videos online. I got extremely lucky. Edit. Thanks everyone for the support. I am fine and managed to sleep a bit. Prayers go out to all affected more than me. Lebanese but living in Australia. Annie and uncle are in hospital with some injuries but are okay. My dad's auntie, however, is missing and she lived nearby in a building on one of the top floors. We are fearing the worst. Edit. Great news, guys. I am just at my dad's house and he has told me that his Annie's daughter found her unconscious in her room. She is making a recovery in hospital. Her property has been destroyed. There is a bit of relief at home, but we are still concerned for my uncle and auntie, dad's sister and brother-in-law. My Annie's shoulder is broken and I am not fully aware of my uncle's injuries just yet. Dad is saying he is in pretty bad shape and requires surgery. My cousins in the villages are heading towards Beirut to visit the Monsieur. I'll update this post when I find out more. Thank you all for the kind words. Please keep the people of Lebanon in your thoughts and prayers. They have been doing it tough for a while, and this just doesn't make anything any easier. I was going to see a friend, was on the highway and suddenly the explosion happened. I was a few kilometers from it. I didn't feel the shockwave cause I was in the car with the windows up. Thankfully no broken windows or damage to my car. Suddenly after the car started shaking and I have seen the huge smoke, I was still in shock. Saw cars in front of me lose it and hit a wall. Pedestrians passing out on the sidewalk. Army everywhere. I was surprised they were there that quick. Maybe they were evacuating because of the fire? I seriously have no clue. Anyway, 30 seconds after the explosion, the friend I was going to calls me panicking and couldn't breathe. He told me his brother was really close to the explosion and he's hurt badly. Asked me to go to the nearest hospital. I turn around trying to go there. The roads are chaos. Can't actually go anywhere. A few minutes he tells me he was able to talk to him again, and he is a hospital near the explosion. He couldn't get medical attention and to go pick him up and take another hospital. After 10 minutes of illegal driving, climbing over sidewalks, thankfully I have an SUV, I managed to arrive to the hospital. It was a war zone. Blood literally everywhere on the floor. People fully laying down everywhere inside and outside the hospital on the streets. The hospital itself was in ruins. Ceiling panels everywhere. Windows all shattered. Doctors and nurses running around in confusion. I locate my friend. He is in bad shape. Arm all fucked up. Legs covered in glass. A big chunk of his head missing. I convince a doctor to stitch him up quickly simply to stop the big bleeding. Put on something on his head, and quickly take him to another hospital. He was fully covered in blood from head to toe. I swear I am OT exaggerating. We get in the car, turn on my blinkers, and full on towards another hospital. There was confusion to which hospital I should take him. I decided on a hospital further away, hoping that people didn't have time to get to yet so my friend would get medical attention. I drive like a maniac, my hand almost consistently on the horn, blinkers on, and waving to people all along the way. There were no traffic rules for me at the time. People got angry but I couldn't care at the time. We arrive and the hospital is packed. I hastily park on the sidewalk and walk to the ER since there were too many cars blocking the road. I get him inside. Judging by the looks of him, the doctor quickly talks to him and figures out what is hurting and what needs to happen. His family members arrived 30 minutes later. We stayed until 12 a.m. until he was admitted to the hospital from the ER and we went home. He is fine and stable. Lived a kilometer away from the explosion. I left Lebanon 2 weeks ago to visit family. My house is completely destroyed and unalive. Abe. My two closest friends were my roommates. One was in the bathroom when it happened. The other was outside walking back from work. They were sending me voice notes of what was going on while it happened. These two men are the strongest people I know, and getting messages from both of telling me to tell their families they love them in case anything happens shakes you. If they were in their rooms, I can't begin to imagine what would have happened to the monsieur. They're both safe now in the mountains. Thankfully no one I know is dead, just lots of injuries. Edit. Guys, please, if you can donate to our Lebanese Red Cross, they'll need the help they can get. I got an award, but your funds are better used for the volunteers that commit their life for our health and safety. https://www.supportlrc.app. Wire transfers removed. After 12 hours, my ear still hurts a little. I'm getting myself checked today. The shockwave was really intense. Thank God my lazy ass didn't go for a walk. Edit. Typo. Removed. We're physically fine, but we are definitely traumatized. This is unlike anything else and can hardly be described with words. The worst part was the uncertainty of what was happening. I live about 1.75 miles away from the explosion, and before the second impact the ground was violently shaking for a solid 10 seconds. Everyone felt like their buildings are falling down. And then the shockwave burst all the windows and doors open. All you could see is blood and all you can hear is screams. The scene really felt like it was from a post-apocalyptic film. Monsieur, our people have been hit with so many heavy blows. We're known for being resilient, but this is too much for all of us. Just in a single year we've been through protests to overthrow the government, an economy crisis with prices of all products increasing uncontrollably due to our currency collapsing, a full-on pandemic with minimal planning by the government, and now with this explosion of ammonium nitrate that the government knew existed and knew how dangerous it was. We all went out to donate blood, not knowing we shouldn't be inhaling the orange smoke because no one in the state cared to tell us. And to top things, hospitals that were accepting COVID cases and injuries from the explosion were collapsing themselves, and all the patients had to be moved to other hospitals. We lack crisis management on the state scale, and it showed yesterday. We all woke up today and were wounded. Hundreds are dead, thousands are injured, and so many properties are destroyed. With our current economy crisis, there is no funding to rebuild what's been destroyed. The port included that the country relied on for most of its imports-based failure of an economy. We're facing homelessness and shortages in food and fuel. We feel helpless as darker days come. Sorry for the rambling, and sorry if I didn't make any sense. Edit. I'm overwhelmed by all the support and kind messages. I suggest you check this link. https://helplebanon.card.co/ for trustworthy donation links. I also suggest you send messages to your local representatives to inform them of this tragedy and ask for their support. We're still very confused about everything. Most of us couldn't get any food or sleep for the past 24 hours. The long-term consequences of this will be much more devastating. Inflation rate and unemployment rate are already up the roof. Many huge hospitals are destroyed. Edit 2. For some background and additional info, 300,000 people were made homeless. Losses are estimated to be about $5 billion, and the explosion of 2,700 tons of ammonium nitrate is equivalent to a 1,100-ton TNT explosion. Please take some time to understand the scale of this explosion. The story so far is that there was either welding gone wrong near the nitrates or a fire in a stock of fireworks near the nitrates. Either way, it was mismanagement, and it's sad. Firefighters were initially dispatched to the fire that happened prior to the explosion without being told of the content of the warehouse. Government officials were already aware for 6 years at least of how dangerous and explosive this component can be. Edit 3. For everyone asking about how to donate for the Lebanese Red Cross, download their app. More stable than the website. And you can choose to donate only once. And you can pick national to donate to all the branches and not just a specific one. Thanks again. I feel as though all this was a movie, but it really happened, and now we're dealing with dead and searching for missing and thousands more that will eventually die. Nothing scares me anymore after seeing this. Well, in my case, I'm fine. I took all the earthquake procedures my family practices once a month in case of an earthquake, then left the building as soon as the shaking stopped. Then came the horrifying part, the smoke, and then boom, the shockwave. I was deafened for about 30 seconds and got a few minor scratches on my arm, but other than that I'm fine. Can't speak for at least 4.5k others though, sadly. Because of the rising COVID-19 cases the past week, I asked my company yesterday if I could work from home for the meantime to keep my family safe, and they agreed. The explosion happened at around 18:05, at which time I would still be in the office. My workplace building collapsed from the inside, and people rushed out while the building was falling on top of them. Monsieur, I can't shake off the feeling that I pretty much just escaped death. And it is surreal. My aunt's house got destroyed, and I had to go pick her up. There was shattered glass everywhere, dust, and debris. But the shit that gets you is how silent and loud, if that makes any sense. Being in the middle of it actually is. All you hear are sirens, echoing alarms, and screams of people looking for each other. I am outraged because of this government and its incompetence. Not once did it manage to do anything good for the country. I want to go down and hang all of them on the streets, including their puppet master Hassan Nasrallah. Edit. Just so you know, when the explosion happened, everyone around the world was making statements and giving their condolences. Even Israel. Our president? Nothing. Not even 14 hours after the explosion. Please do not give me awards. If you're feeling generous, Donate instead to the Lebanese Red Cross. http://www.redcross.org.lb/donate.aspx. Thank you. Thank you all for your kind words. Shocked, heartbroken, and hopeless. Ears still ringing from the blast, friends and family injured. I don't know how Lebanon is going to cope with this trauma and move on. The whole explosion was like an out-of-body experience that keeps playing over and over in my head.